Hey everyone, welcome to a special episode covering this Triple G versus Canelo Alvarez rematch that happened over the weekend. Lots to talk about, a lot of controversy online. All the pundits weighing in. Did he win? Did he not win? Former boxers, current boxers weighing in. We're going to talk about that next here on Collider Sports Time. But I can't do it alone, so we had to bring in a very special guest. He's a senior editor for Complex Sports. Man is not short of opinions. Adam Caparel, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, my man.
Yeah, it's good to meet you. Good to talk to you. Now, what's your experience with boxing? How long have you been covering it? What's your knowledge on the sweet science?
I mean, yeah, obviously Complex, our focus is NBA and basketball. It's like our bread and butter, but I am a huge boxing fan, been following it for a long, long time. And since I've been with Complex, I've tried to do as much boxing coverage as possible, picking our spots. But the big fights, especially what you see in pay-per-views and some of the bigger cards that HBO and Showtime put on, writing about it, covering as much as I possibly can. And, I've covered Triple G fights in the past, been there for Mayweather McGregor, other big bouts in New York. And this one, this past weekend in Vegas where I was at covering, it lived up to the hype. It was it was very entertaining, and I would make a case that it was even better than the first fight. And the first fight delivered, and this fight, with all the controversy involved with the first fight, the second fight, I think exceeded, not necessarily in controversy, but I think overall in drama and just the satisfaction you got out of watching a really, really good boxing match between two guys that are arguably top 5 pound for pound guys in the game. And again, it's like with these major fights, the build up to them is so long, and the lead time it can be laborious. And obviously, this one had a false start because of Canelo's positive steroid test back in the springtime. But this one delivered. They delivered an awesome performance, and we actually saw Triple G get beat up for the first time pretty much ever. So it's like there's a lot of different layers to this, and I had a very different opinion about who won the fight than what the judges came to, which you can probably guess with that assumption. But yeah, it was, Vegas definitely, the arena wasn't buzzing until about half an hour before the fight. And if you guys watch the pay-per-view card, the undercards did not deliver. It
was very boring.
It was very boring. It shaped up to be a good one, but we had 3 early decisions, not even decisions, I'm sorry, knockouts that pretty much got done with. And actually, this undercard was shaping up to be an entertaining one. Had a few layers of storylines and good boxes and great dynamics that should have made for entertaining fights. Didn't happen. So we did a lot of waiting around in the arena, and everyone at home watching, I can't even imagine what the hell was HBO playing. Like, it's like, how do you waste that time? You only talk so much about it.
It was just only them talking over and over again, then playing highlights, and then bringing up the past fights, doing all that kind of jazz to get you hyped. But you hit that wall with it eventually. Let's just get to it. That happens with MMA events all the time too. It's like you have these underwhelming undercards sometimes, but you're just waiting around for that final fight. And you're right, this one really lived up to expectations. We're probably on two opposite sides of the fence on this fight. But it was a great back and forth between both of these guys. What had been the complaint against Canelo in that first fight was that he ran too much away from Golovkin. He stood and fought with Triple G right in the middle of that ring, all around the ring, and G was backing up, hitting his jabs, and Canelo was coming. It was a lot of power punches, a lot of heavy punches that were thrown in this match. I agree with you. Maybe one of the best fights of the year. Certainly at any moment, both of these guys landed shots that would have knocked out and have knocked out other opponents, and both those guys passed. When you see the score, it was here 114, 114, 115, 113 on 2 of the cards, given the bout to Canelo. You say you don't agree with Canelo winning the fight?
I don't. No, I mean, I scored it myself, and we obviously have a little different vantage point when you're covering the fight. I'm there in the arena, but the media seating where they have us is certainly further back from the ring, and we have a different view than the judges obviously have at ringside, and obviously people have viewing at home. So I'm only going from what I'm seeing from 50 yards away. So I can't see every little nuance here and there. But from my vantage point, I scored a 116, 112 for Triple G, and I had him winning the last 5 rounds of the fight, which a lot of people take umbrage of and not agree with. But just from my perspective, even though Canelo looked fresher through the middle rounds, I think that he was in phenomenal shape, and the way that the Reynoso brothers, or the Reynoso family should say, got him ready for this fight, and the strategy change that we saw that allowed him to win in the judges' mind was excellent. I still felt that there was a bit of a surge from Triple G that maybe did show a little bit of his age for the first time ever.
It's 36.
But I just still felt that there were crisper, more powerful punches landed on Triple G's end, and I thought that you saw a good response from him after you kind of saw him I don't necessarily want to say tire,
Yeah.
but you kind of saw him maybe downgrade just a little bit after the first few rounds. So I thought that with the surge and the fact that he was landing the crisper, more powerful punches, and also, in my mind, I thought Canelo was actually in trouble just a little bit in the 10th.
I agree.
And I thought the surge in the early 12th round also swayed it heavy in Triple G's favor. But if you look at the judges' scorecards, everyone gave him the 12th round, which to me is, again, it goes against what I saw. But, that's the one thing about boxing. It's incredibly subjective. And judges do have a certain criteria of how to judge a fight.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how everyone that watches the same fight sees very different things.
Yeah, you know what? And I'm wrong. I absolutely think Triple G won the fight as well. So I'm wrong on saying that we're on opposite side of the fence. We're on the same side of the fence on this one. I thought for sure that Golovkin held off the charge by Alvarez through most of the fight. Yes, the first few rounds it looked like Alvarez. He didn't take that first round, that's for sure. But then he started. He had an incredible overhand right in that second round that really rocked Triple G for just a second, shook it off and kept going. And you saw that. But it's incredible how a 36-year-old like Triple G grew in endurance as the fight went along. He was landing the harder punches as it was going on. You're right. That 10th round was a fantastic round of boxing, and he really nailed Alvarez. But Alvarez, to his credit, had a lot of bobbing and weaving when Triple G was trying to finish him off after that heavy punch. So give him credit for not being overwhelmed too much either.
And you have to give Canelo a ton of credit also for having an amazing chin.
Yeah,
because,
both of those guys.
Oh, they both do. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
and Triple G doesn't get hit the same way. Canelo has obviously fought a different caliber of fighters over his career.
Right.
That's well documented. That's everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Triple G obviously gets knocked for not fighting, the top tier guys, which in boxing, there's only so much you can do about that.
If some guys are afraid to fight you, what can you do?
Exactly, yes. And sometimes, obviously Canelo has kind of moved up in class over the years. Triple G's pretty much been a middleweight since he's kind of risen to somewhat prominence over the last 5-6 years in the game. Triple G has never gotten hit like he has the last two fights.
Oh, yeah.
He had 8 stitches over his right eye after the fight. It took him a while to come out to the press conference. And actually,
he left the ring.
He left the ring. Yeah, he left early, which is, again, out of character. But also, it's like, how do guys react to their first professional loss?
Exactly.
You kind of have to give him some of that. I was actually supposed to have time with Golovkin Sunday in Las Vegas. At a special kind of one of his sponsors, Hublot, was doing a thing for him in Vegas. I was actually supposed to have time to talk to him one-on-one.
Right.
Because of his condition, they apologized, but Gennady wasn't gonna be able to make it, and I understand that again because we saw him beat up, and if you follow, social media, some people said that Golovkin didn't really take that many shots, but again, when you get 8 stitches over your eye, he got hit, he got beat up, we have never seen Triple G, at least I can't remember, showing up to a press conference afterwards with sunglasses on. He had thick aviators or whatever they were covering his eyes. That never happens because he never gets hit like that. So, it's, again, a testament to Canelo, one, for his chin. Obviously, Golovkin absorbed a great amount. Credit to him for his chin, too. But, all the credit to Canelo for pulling off the biggest win of his life and for the strategy change that him and his camp, the Reynosos, orchestrated because he did it beautifully. And it was the exact opposite of what we saw the first fight. And he was ultra aggressive from the get-go. And for the first time ever, we saw Golovkin back up, back up. The relentless machine-like Triple G that you were used to if you've been watching him box over the years was for the most part, I wouldn't say, well, not for the most part, but it was absent for a lot of the fight.
Yeah, it was. For the first 6 rounds, you could see that. And I think that was just Triple G figuring out this whole new strategy from Canelo. I don't think he anticipated Canelo would come and hunt him down, which basically is what he did, and take the punches that he did, because Triple G landed some pretty hard blows in those first 6 rounds, but could not quite figure him out. And I thought it was in the 6th round that it really started to figure out the defense, and that's when he started to take over the fight for the end of the second half of that fight. And you saw it. I saw in the 9th round, I saw Triple G figuring out Canelo's defenses really well, which is why he was able to land that overhand right on Canelo's head the way he did into the 10th round. So you saw that. So you saw a master fighter. He's 36 years old. Canelo 28. He saw this young guy coming at him. He's going to hold him off with the jab as much as possible. Canelo's landing some shots, but you saw him in the second half of that fight figure him out and start to get in between those defenses, and especially in that 12th round. I thought they both exchanged well, but I thought Triple G definitely got the best of him. Yeah. And it's ironic that these judges gave Canelo that 12th round so it wouldn't be a draw.
Yeah, again, it's like, from my vantage point, it felt like Triple G was going, and both guys said they wanted to knock the other one out because of how this was a grudge match. We obviously know the bad blood was flowing throughout. And in the 12th round, it literally looked like Triple G came out like smelling blood, like he wanted just to end it right there. And I don't know if Abel, this question wasn't asked in the press conference, and probably should have been somebody. was able in Triple G's ear about something, because again, to me, there wasn't a character change in his demeanor with the fight completely, but I thought I saw some nuances of a different, again, energy that we saw in the second half, which is why I scored it so definitively in Triple G's favor from the 8th round on. But the exchanges that we saw in the late rounds of this fight, I think far exceeded what we saw in the first fight.
Yeah.
I think the exchanges and overall the great blows were kind of more spread over the first fight.
Agreed.
And I thought they were more concentrated in the second fight. But again, it's like when you have those awesome late rounds, I think that kind of sways your mind to thinking that's a better fight, but maybe just because the championship rounds and the drama involved in that make it inherently a better entertainment product. So yeah, to me, again, there's a million little storylines and plot lines to kind of pull out and really kind of dissect.
Absolutely.
But it's like I keep just going back to the fact that for something that was so hyped and we've been building up to, it delivered. And again, I wasn't happy with the decision, but and sitting with the press row and quickly all the boxing writers like, how do you have it? What'd you score? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Majority of the guys sitting, the true boxing writers, the ones that cover on a day in, day out basis, a lot of those guys did have it as a draw.
Yeah, and that's what the big complaint is coming out of this. Now, let's throw some numbers out there first. Golovkin outlanded Alvarez 234 to 202 overall. He threw more, 879 punches to 622, but Alvarez did have a 143 to 116 edge in power punches, and that Alvarez had a higher overall connect percentage as well, from 32% to 27%, and a higher power punch percentage, 39% to 35%. But Golovkin out-jabbed Canelo 118 to 59, and that tells you the defense or the differences in their styles as they were going throughout this fight. You saw him, Canelo landing more power punches. You see Golovkin needing to use that jab more to keep Canelo off of him and land his own offense when he had the opportunities. You talk about this idea of the people on the sideline watching the boxing writers saying it was a draw. A lot of people felt it was a draw. We got to talk about this, Adam. This idea that this was a Golden Boy promotion. These were Golden Boy judges. And Canelo is their Golden Boy in essence. He's the new Oscar De La Hoya for them. Pretty boy coming out of with the Mexican heritage. Latino heritage, do you think there was maybe something here that they didn't want another draw, and there was a bit of a push to be like, hey, give this 12th round to blah, 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 so Canelo wins this thing?
I mean, listen, the subjectivity of judging a fight in boxing is incredibly nuanced and very difficult, and, judges don't have it easy, and everyone sees it very differently. That being said, Triple G's camp was not particularly happy that Dave Moretti was back as a judge.
Yep.
They obviously wanted different judges for whatever reason. Both camps have says in who the judges can. If they really want to get someone kicked out, they can put their foot down and get him kicked out.
Like a jury, you can just kick him out.
Pretty much. But they allowed Dave Moretti to stay on.
Yeah.
So, in the grand scheme of things, is that a good move?
Exactly.
Not really. Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, but then again, you can also, it's like, it goes back to the boxer though. It's like, Triple G, maybe to me, I'm trying to think of how I had the scorecard. It was kind of volleying back and forth the first 6 rounds. I had it even through the first 6. And maybe I think I had Canelo in the first 2 rounds or whatever. And essentially the first 6 rounds, to my opinion, were essentially razor-thin toss-up rounds.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, if Triple G does a little something here and there, maybe that sways the judges to give him an extra round.
Right.
So it's like, it's all subjective in the grand scheme of things. But, it adds another subplot to it. And yes, I think it's definitely great for business for the fact that they had another close fight.
Yep.
And even if they had a draw, like, boxing fans would have been extremely pissed.
Yes.
And would have been outraged. But if you're a boxing fan and you like watching these two guys go at it, in the grand scheme of things, it's better that we didn't get someone get knocked out completely in the 6th round early on, because this sets up beautifully for a 3rd installment. And when's the last time we've had a high-level trilogy in boxing that has delivered all 3 times? It hasn't happened in a while. And we have 2 guys.
Maybe Gotti Ward.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's kind of the most obvious one. And there's a few other kind of ones here and there that you can maybe pull up, but Gotti Ward's the one that everyone's going to go back to. And those guys, again, would wail on each other and deliver entertaining, awesome fights.
Not a lot of
They
defense.
respect each other, unlike these two. These two became a blood feud. Triple G and Canelo.
They did hug at the end, though.
They showed sportsmanship at times.
They did.
And
especially Triple G, because he had 2 shots.
Very much
where
so.
he could have pulled a Mayweather when Canelo was on his knee and accidentally punched him, but he held back.
It's funny because there wasn't the pettiness of the two, because there was times in the first fight where it's like, I remember, I forget what round it was towards the end of the round, but Canelo gave Triple G a shot behind his back.
Yes.
And then Triple G gave him a shot in the top of the head. The ref missed. And it's like you didn't see any of those kind of exchanges, which you kind of thought it would because of how the bad blood that was flowing through everyone's veins heading up to this one. But you saw sportsmanship. You saw
they touched
respect.
gloves a couple times.
You saw respect for them, which wasn't the case leading up to the fight. But afterwards, the Triple G team of his promoter Tom Loeffler, Abel Sanchez as trainer, and Triple G themselves, 2 out of those 3, kind of gave Canelo credit, but still in the grand scheme of things said they didn't agree with the card and didn't feel he was the right winner. And that was Tom Lawford, Triple G's promoter, and also Triple G. The one who gave Canelo definitive credit, shockingly, was his biggest detractor heading up to this fight, trainer Abel Sanchez.
Abel Sanchez did.
Abel Sanchez was contrite in saying that we have to give Canelo all the credit because he won the fight. We didn't necessarily see it that way per se, but Canelo did what he had to do, strategy, and I'm obviously kind of paraphrasing here, but Abel Sanchez out of the Triple G triumvirate, if you will, was the only one that definitively gave Canelo credit. And
Abel Sanchez said that. He said, quote, Canelo is the champion today. He deserves it. Hopefully they do it again. But Triple G said afterwards, because they were able to catch him, ESPN caught him a couple times. He said, I'm not going to say he won tonight because the victory belongs to Canelo according to the judges. I thought it was a very good fight for the fans and very exciting. I thought I fought better than he did. But then he said, first of all, I want to congratulate Canelo. I feel like I'm a champion. He's also a champion. He didn't run, but it doesn't mean he won the fight, and he wants to come back. He said, I love a third fight. We will continue to negotiate that. It would be great to have a third fight. And I want to get your thoughts on this, Adam. And then he said, maybe not in Vegas. So this is an interesting thing he threw in right at the end. And of course, this leads more to the conspiracy thing about like, well, Canelo is the money fighter. Canelo's going to get the advantage. Max Kellerman brought this up on ESPN. He was saying that Canelo got these decisions against Trout and against Lara that were razor thin, but he got him. And one judge against Mayweather, when he fought Mayweather, had him even with Mayweather, which was ridiculous. And in the first fight, they gave him 10 rounds. And so that kind of stuff is, you see that possibly there's a little bit of people wanting to coddle Canelo a little bit in their judgment of him. So maybe Triple G sees that and goes, I don't want to take chances anymore. Let's fight outside of Vegas. Let's fight in Jersey. Let's fight in my hometown. Let's fight somewhere. What do you think about this?
It's interesting. I mean, Vegas, obviously, if you've been at the T-Mobile Arena, and obviously if you've been to Vegas at all, it's a big event town. And, boxing, it's the home of boxing, essentially, where almost every big fight goes down.
Absolutely.
But there are other sites. And Triple G is based in Santa Monica, California. So, and Canelo trains in he was training in San Diego this time around. But he's also relatively, California, LA based for the most part. So, I mean, maybe Staples Center is a place that kind of comes, up as a potential spot. It wouldn't be a bad idea to get this fight and this kind of trilogy into a new spot. And that makes sense to go back to Vegas because they've done it before. And also, everyone obviously points to the fact that, well, it makes sense to do it at Cinco de Mayo. We're supposed to do the first fight. And obviously Cinco de Mayo is a big deal in Vegas because it pretty much always is. So it's like it would make perfect sense to do the fight number 3 in Vegas on Cinco de Mayo weekend and just do it like you're supposed to do the second time around. But Triple G has sold out Madison Square Garden, which so few fighters have done over the past, several decades, a few times here and there. But he sold out Madison Square Garden multiple times. He had his home there, essentially his big fighting home for, a number of fights before the Canelo trilogy. Well, assuming trilogy. But
we'll see.
The rivalry with Canelo came about. I don't know where else you go, though. Like, Atlantic City doesn't have a big enough arena to house 20,000 people because you can easily sell 20 to 25,000 tickets, if not more, in certain places. You're not going to fight at, the StubHub Center here where Triple G's fought a few fights. Again, too small of a place, but, like, these guys can go places. It's like, would Jerry Jones and the Cowboys get involved? It's like, because you know what? With Canelo's following,
huge, man,
is gigantic.
That close to Mexico,
gigantic
in Texas.
And you know what? Could they sell 50,000 tickets for a fight?
Absolutely,
easily. So it's again, highest bidder because the third fight is going to do dollars. It's been it's again 2 entertaining fights that. You add in the controversy, adds another layer to it. And why wouldn't boxing fans, again, that so often get left, wanting more and feeling I shouldn't say feeling left out, but obviously feeling
disappointed.
Okay,
sure.
Better word
Mayweather Pacquiao, that's a disappointment.
Exactly. Yes. Well, obviously it happened 5 years too late. And you can also make a case that this installment, this rivalry is happening a little late too. We'd like to maybe seen it with Triple G's like maybe 33, 34 times. But again,
agree.
Everything in life is timing. Business gets in the way of stuff, and they just couldn't make it happen earlier.
But I also think it was smarter for Canelo to delay this thing, take his time, do whatever, because I think the older he got, the stronger he got. And if he'd fought him at 24, 25, I think Triple G would have finished him off easy. And I think there's a difference here. Having fought Mayweather, he got some experience. Having fought these other fights, having won, I mean, especially the way he destroyed Amir Khan, like that was destruction. And so you see that he grew in confidence as a fighter. And I think that first fight, he realized, okay, I can't run away anymore. I got to stand. If I'm going to really be respected amongst the Mexican people, talk about Mexican style, I got to stand in there and take it. And you saw him do that. And I think that's what's an interesting now as we talk about the third fight. If this does happen, What needs to happen here for us to have a definitive winner? Like, in my opinion, I think someone needs to get knocked out once and for all. But aside from that, because the punching power on either side may not allow for that, what do you think what do you see happening here? Because Triple G ain't getting any younger. He'll be almost a year older.
So it's like,
again.
talking to guys heading up to this fight, asking for predictions. I talked to two boxing legends, Bernard Hopkins, Andre Ward. Both guys are headed to the Hall of Fame.
And Triple G was trying to do that Bernard Hopkins thing. He
tied Bernard Hopkins for the most middleweight defenses. And Bernard Hopkins was gloating afterwards. He was definitely gloating.
Like the Miami Dolphins.
Exactly. So quick aside before I answer your question.
Yeah, sure.
It was funny because as soon as the fight got over and everyone's writing the stories and the writers are going back and forth, Bernard slowly made his way through press row. And he was looking at guys like, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? Pointing at him. And at the press conference also before Triple G and Canelo both came out.
Yeah.
Bernard was not shy about letting everyone know that he was very happy with the decision because it's obviously a business decision for him because he's attached to Golden Boy Promotions, but also he's obviously prideful.
Yep.
And he doesn't want his record to be lost to someone else. So yes, Bernard had himself a very good night thanks to Canelo taking care of business.
Right.
But in terms of what would happen in the third fight, and getting back to my point about talking to Bernard Hopkins and Andre Ward, I asked them for predictions for Triple G Canelo too.
Yeah.
They both, again, Bernard's biased, so we know who Bernard's going to pick, but they both pick Canelo. And asking why, Andre Ward gave the better answer. You generally go with a guy, especially in a rematch, who has more tricks in his bag. What have we seen from Triple G over the years? We've seen the relentless Mexican style, which just go forward, go forward, go forward. And pretty much he bludgeons his guys with his insane power, awesome jabbing prowess, and just the ability to just, again, definitively hammer guys with his iron fist.
He smothers them.
Yes.
And then
they can't, again, he closes down the ring and just puts them into positions where they can't get out of and just hammers them, hammers them until either the ref calls it or they get knocked out. Canelo, younger, a little bit more nimble, more athletic. I think we saw him a little bit smaller this time too, which some guys point out that, when you go into a fight of this magnitude, some guys bulk up to lows because they're not sure what to expect from their opponent. Canelo came in a little bit, I think, lighter.
He was lighter.
And looked a little bit more athletic. And again, I thought fresher. So, the strategy, changing things up, and him being the more Mexican-style fighter, again, goes to the point where Andre said that I'm going to go with the guy that has more tricks in his bag, the guy that can do more things, pull stuff out of nowhere, and I think that's Canelo. So, heading to the third fight, it's tough to teach an old dog new tricks. Triple G's 36 years old.
That's a great point.
And again, we haven't seen any strategy change from him, at all. And other people made this point where it's like a guy who is 36 years old, you wonder if there's maybe overtraining involved heading up to this fight. It's like, how much do you leave in the tank to build up? Because, Triple G was building himself up for Canelo months and months and months ago. And he fought the guy who, if you can pronounce his name correctly, I will give you $100 right now, May 5th in Carson. And destroyed him in 2 rounds.
It was ridiculous.
But again, it's like another build-up, of training over the summer. So it's like, that's just a lot of wear and tear on a 36-year-old, no matter how great shape you're in. So again, it's like the third installment, which we can't wait to see because it's been so entertaining. But it's like, Triple G was the favorite in these 2 fights. Well, now Canelo is going to be a somewhat, I think, definitive favorite going into the third installment. So, can Triple G, can Abel Sanchez, can they strategize something different for a third time around? Because we saw the same Triple G, but again, for the first time ever, we saw him backing up.
Does he get rid of Sanchez?
No, there's no.
I didn't like what he had to say afterwards. I didn't like, Canelo, because he said, I think Triple G left something in the tank in that 12th round, and he didn't fully give 100% in that 12th round. And that, you don't want your trainer saying that. That's a little weird for your trainer to all of a sudden kind of undercut what you've done in the fight and say that you didn't give it everything you had in that last round to win that round, when it looked definitively to a lot of people that he won that last round. And so to hear him say that, that's a little weird for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal, and I wouldn't say it's Abel throwing him under the bus per se.
Not
but you know what? Abel's very outspoken. Abel says what's on his mind. He doesn't care. I mean, we saw that leading up to this fight. Obviously, he held no punches. No pun intended. Exactly. It's like he just says it as it is. So I mean, I don't think when the tandem has worked so well over the years. You stick with if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, is it broke after this fight? I would argue it's not broke.
Right.
They tried to Canelo threw a new strategy at them. We saw a different fighter in Canelo the first time around, and I don't know if they were completely prepared for that. You can now prepare for what you saw from Canelo the second time around for the third fight, and just see what happens. So, from my perspective, never heard any rumblings, haven't read anything or seen anything that would warrant the idea that Triple G would go in a different direction. Because again, him and Abel have been a great tandem for years and years and years.
Yeah.
What they do up in Big Bear Lake has gotten them a lot of money. A lot of titles, a lot of notoriety, and he's rocketed up the stardom level of boxing in a rapid amount of time. So I don't see them changing, but again, I'll chalk it up to Abel being Abel. And we like to have honesty, and that's one great thing about covering boxing and being involved in is that you get a level of honesty out of these athletes and the people around it that you rarely get in other sports.
Yeah, and Freddie Roach is another one, like him and Pacquiao separated, because Freddie started being a little more outspoken about Pacquiao having a camp full of people who supported him a little too much or sycophants that weren't necessarily 100% for Pacquiao's overall health in the long run. And so you saw that separation.
And
so it was certainly possible.
And Triple G does not have the entourage.
No.
He's not taking care of 20 people left. Or
running for Senate.
Manny basically paid a guy to carry a Bible around with him. Like that's like Triple G is not like that at all. He has a much smaller camp, much smaller entourage. So I don't foresee a change in trainer happening, but you never know.
Yeah, but do you think? And what worries me with Canelo here with this victory now, his post-match interview it was a slight delusion for me. He thought he really won that thing and he was way ahead. But I guess fighters say that because they got to promote their brand, promote their victory, and what have you. But I wonder if now if they do settle on a third fight, is he going to defend the title first against someone else and then come back to Triple G?
He's going to have
he's
going to have mandatories.
Yeah,
he has 3 belts now. And he has mandatories. Yeah. And I think at some point, there's a essentially in the undercard, the David Lemieux O'Sullivan fight. Yep. Lemieux is a guy that could be potentially. There's other middleweights out there vying for a shot at that. And essentially, the Lemieux fight was an eliminator. I think the WBA, if I remember correctly. And obviously, Canelo now is a WBA champion. Yeah. So he's probably going to have a mandatory to fight before Cinco de Mayo comes. So it's like there's an A that has to happen before you get to a B for the trilogy between these two. We're going to see Canelo definitively fight, barring something unforeseen, barring them paying someone to go away. And obviously you can do that in boxing. You can make a mandatory go away if you really wanted to. Right. But I think you're probably going to see Canelo fight again. They tossed out in the press conference like, would you fight in December? When would you fight again?
December.
Seems a little early.
That's insane to me after a war like this.
Exactly. After a war like that, it's one thing if you knock a guy out in 3 or 4 rounds and come out relatively unscathed. You can quickly get up for another training camp and go into battle in a few months. But a war like that, it seems a little far-fetched for Canelo to get back in the ring in December. Yeah. But again, it's like it depends on how much they're hounding him mandatory-wise and if he really cares about retaining these belts. Right. If he does and he has to fight in December, again, still a little far-fetched in my opinion. Right. He's going to have to do it if he wants to retain those belts. But you're probably going to see Canelo take one fight before we see him fight Triple G. Does
Triple G chill for a little bit until this fight?
There's no reason for him to fight. I mean, unless you want to get a secondary pay. I mean, you're not getting paid like this again. Nope. Your next fight, unless it's against him, is not going to be in pay-per-view. You're going back to a HBO premiere card, but you're not getting a payday like this unless you fight Canelo again. Do I see Triple G fighting again before then? He is a guy that likes to be active. He's never been afraid of taking multiple fights per year. So could I see it happen? Yes, but then again, the wild card here is the fact that, again, we saw him get beat up in ways we've never seen that happen before. That eye is now going to be a problem going forward no matter what. And, it's you take time to assess the situation. You take time to process your first loss. There are things going through his head and through his camp and through his promotion team that I haven't had to deal with in the past. There's a lot of variables. I don't think he does, but knowing him and the track record, a pretty good chance he does. Yeah. There's a great line in Rocky 2 where Duke says to Creed, I see you beat that man like I never seen no man get beat before, and the man kept coming after you. So maybe there's a conversation to be had there whether Triple G wants to put his legacy on the line. And you know what? I'd love to see him fight. And if he gets knocked out, so what? He still goes out on his shield, and that's what every great boxing fan wants to see from a boxer. You don't want to see them hurt, but you want to see them fight to the end. But it would be jarring to see Triple G go down. It would be, again, but it happens. It happens again, but when guys stick around too long. But again, when guys stick around too long. Oh, yeah, exactly. And, Triple G, again, I think for the first time, we saw maybe glimpses. Maybe glimpses of Father Time kind of creeping in a little bit. And I feel we saw that in that fight before the fight. The guy he fought and knocked out in 2 rounds. I forget the guy he fought two fights ago. That guy took and exposed some things. Jenny Jacobs. Yeah, Jenny Jacobs. Which Jacobs exposed him. For my money 2 years ago, that was essentially the Klitschko-Joshua fight was the fight of the year. And for reasons I get that, 2 heavyweights, multiple knockdowns, we saw Joshua rise up. But, covering that fight at MSG, that fight was incredibly thrilling.
It was.
Ridiculously dramatic, and I actually scored it for Danny Jacobs.
Wow.
And other guys, too, had it for Danny Jacobs afterwards.
Wow.
Like, waiting for the press conference to come around.
Yeah.
Everyone, again, the boxing was like, how'd you score it? How'd you score it? There was a lot of, not indecision, but a lot of variables. And there are plenty of guys back there that scored it for Danny Jacobs just because you saw him get knocked down, but you saw him, again, pressure Triple G in ways that we hadn't seen previously and, rocked him a few times. So, that fight to me stands out as an awesome fight. I think a low-key, underrated, awesome fight.
It was a great fight.
It was a great fight. So, maybe that fight was the first time we saw a little bit, chink in the armor of Triple G. But I think definitely this past weekend in Vegas, you saw for more than like a round or two.
Yeah.
Again, to me, it's like rounds, I think 4 to 6. Again, Canelo just seemed to be so much fresher and just so much more athletic and just, so much more crisper than Triple G. And that's kind of where it kind of kept your minds like, are we starting to see the low key, that this is the beginning of the end?
And sometimes it happens like that, and you don't know what to do about it at that point. It is the way it is. That's how boxing goes. The young guy comes up and eventually masters the master. One last thing I want to talk about him before we shut this thing down real quick. Your quick thoughts on this idea of a Mayweather-Pacquiao 2. Do we effing need it? Why are we doing this? Do you think it's ridiculous? Because it's September. It's the middle of September as we're talking about this, and Mayweather's talking about doing it in December against Pacquiao.
I mean, do I really care as a boxing fan?
That's what I'm asking.
No. Right. I stopped caring about Manny Pacquiao boxing a long time ago.
Right.
Especially after the Jeff Horn fight.
Jesus
where
Christ.
it's like, I'm done with it at this point.
Yeah.
I don't need it. Now, from a pop culture perspective, especially what we do at Complex Sports,
right.
We will eat this up. We will cover it like crazy because Floyd does numbers for us. And if they do actually fight someplace in the continental United States, maybe a good chance to go to cover that one too.
Sure,
but do I actually have an appetite as a boxing fan to see it?
Yeah.
I have zero appetite to see it.
I'm in the boat with you as well. So I think both of us understand it seems like the way this fight went down, Canelo Alvarez with Triple G, it was Canelo's style that eventually convinced the judges to give him that victory. Maybe there was some shenanigans in the judging. Who knows? Maybe they knew that people would go insane if it was another draw. But I think we both agree that this was more of a draw than that first fight. And if anything else, Triple G won this fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of how I scored the first fight. I definitely think I had it maybe.
I had it 8-4.
Maybe I had it 8-4 also, which actually now that I'm thinking about it, kind of how I scored this fight too. So it's like, again, it's all subjective. It's it's crazy, but I agree with you. I think it was more definitively in Triple G's favor the first time around. Yeah. Until Adelaide Bird became a meme. Entity. Exactly.
A meme unto herself.
Exactly. Yeah. Adelaide Bird became the worst thing about boxing last year. So
I agree.
But overall, the appetite for this third fight. Should be strong, should be healthy. The two of them proved that a third fight would be worthy and awesome. Because, again, they delivered.
Yeah, agreed. Well, that's Adam Caparel. That's his thoughts. Thanks for stopping by, Adam.
1,000,000%, man.
We had a great time with you, brother. Where can people find you if they're looking for you to follow you and all your knowledge on sports?
Yeah, obviously Complex Sports, all the Twitter and social medias if you want to, but also check out, we have a new show on Complex and Yahoo Sports called Mostly Football, debuting every Thursday throughout the football season. It's a very different NFL studio show than you're used to on the Sunday mornings. It stars Martellus Bennett, and you can get my scintillating selections against the spread every Thursday. Check it out, Yahoo Sports and Complex, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. There we go.
Nice. We have our own show here, Collider Sportsbook, we do on Fridays, where Josh McCougan and I break down the lines ourselves. Always a
How
fun.
are you so far? How'd you do in week 2?
3 and 5. I was 3 and 5 in week 2. I was all right.
I went 1 and 2 in week 2.
Yeah. See, there you go. Yeah. So you make the predictions. It's a lot of fun to do it. So, but Adam, thanks again for stopping by. It's always a blast. It was great to talk to you about this. I hope I talk to you again and you stop by some more and we'll do some more boxing.
Love to come back.
It'd be great. It'd be great. All right. Thanks everybody for watching this special episode of Collider Sports Time, dealing with the Triple G versus Canelo Alvarez rematch. Let us know what you thought about what Adam had to say, what I had to say in the comments section, what you thought about the fight, who you think won. And please try to keep it PG as much as possible, for God's sakes. It's just a boxing match. But let us know what you thought. And of course, always subscribe to Collider Sports YouTube channel and the Collider Sports iTunes podcast feed. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do that too at Collider_sports. Follow us and you'll see all the content we got dropping here on the new channel. All right, take care, everybody. Have a good rest of your day. Until then, we'll see you soon.